nature father.
Huh? Are you on the
Garden father.
terrace, man?
No garden.
Garden?
Garden. Wow.
Looks like you are somewhere in Africa, man. He is showing some, I don't know what he is showing. He is showing his garden. It must be somebody, a neighbor's garden must be.
Yeah,
Oh, Kevin, you are more visible. What has happened to our Sean, man? Kevin, what has happened to him?
He has some network problem, father. He's where he's staying, there is no proper network.
You tell him to this one, find something. He is useless fellow. He has disappeared.
Recently, his mother was sick, so he could not attend the classes. He
Ah,
had to take care of her.
now how
After
is
that, I
she?
didn't. She is okay, it seems now.
You better find out, man. You are a diocesan man and you have to take care of your fellow brother.
Okay.
What
Tell him.
okay? Ah. Rajesh, has he come?
Yes, Father.
Rajesh,
I'm
are
here.
you there? Ah, okay, you are there. Okay. Ah.
Father. I'm here.
Denzil, are you there? Denzil is still celebrating the feast. What about this fellow, man? Yesterday he came and for 5 minutes he was there and then he disappeared.
Yes, Father. Good morning, Father.
No, Denzil. So you are still eating the leftovers of the feast.
They are together, Father. Avil and Denzil.
Where is Avil?
Good morning, Father.
Morning. Where is Avil? Oh, today, you came to his house, man?
Yes, Father.
Where? Avil, where have you come, man?
I'm now in Niner, Father.
Oh, that's good. I told him to give you some place and so that you could give also some food, man. Hey,
Yes,
Denzil,
Father.
give some food, okay? Don't make him starve.
Yes, Father.
And
Sure, Father.
this one, you do some work, man, at his house. There are cows there. So do some work. Don't eat freely.
Yes.
So you came yesterday.
No, Father. Just now I came here.
You are going to stay there.
No, only
You
for
are
the class
staying.
I came. Only for the
How,
class.
how far is that place?
Nearly 25 kilometers.
Oh, that's very far. You can't go near your parish. Eh?
Father, there is a problem, Father. I
What?
can't attend. I only get 10 minutes of this one class.
Near the parish also. Your parish
Yes.
house, man. There also you can't
Yes,
get
Father.
connection.
There is a Wi-Fi. There is a Wi-Fi, but it doesn't connect for a longer time. Like I only attend 10 minutes.
Okay. What, man?
I only
Shirtadi I thought
attend for
was
10
a
minutes.
developed place. Shirtadi. Now I come to know that Shirtadi
Father,
is outdated.
it's like India. Father, it's like India. It's like in India developing.
Good morning, Father.
India is she, man. Karwar people are getting, man. Karwar fellow is getting. Look at Stephen. Has he come today?
Yes, he is there.
Stephen, look at him. He is residing in I don't know what, some forest, mountain. See? I just answered this. Everyone, you have not added that this one, man, vision, mission, and all that. That you have not added. Not there. So you have to add that after this one in the content page. You have to write first vision and after the forward, then vision and mission and that core values. I sent you that. Yeah, I need that. So, and if you said you can reduce the space, is it possible very fast or very slow? Our page. Okay, if it is possible, you do by this evening. Otherwise, no need. But add this vision, mission, core values that which I have sent. That is important. It has to come. It has to come. So it is vision, table of contents, then vision, mission, core values, then the rest. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. So shall we start, man? Shall we start?
Yes, Father.
So we are discussing about the second part of our topic, which we discussed. First part was about phenomenology, and the second part is about hermeneutics. And I give you a little historical background why the question about hermeneutics gained momentum in Europe because of this Renaissance. There was a need for, there was a desire to learn the classical Greek art, literature, and many other concerns. Therefore, there was a need, and therefore they had to go back. And in order to go back and understand the Greek culture, Greek literature, they needed interpretation because understanding means interpretation. Secondly, there was the issue about the Bible, and that was the main issue. Protestant Reformation came, and Bible was taken up by the Protestants, and they started interpreting the Bible. So the question was everybody permitted to interpret the Bible in their own way? So in the Catholic Church, we are very clear that Bible cannot be interpreted in their own way. There is a canon in the Bible in the church, who is an official body, and therefore the question of biblical interpretation is another very significant aspect in the development of hermeneutics as a science. So then I said, then of course hermeneutics today is extended to all other branches of knowledge, which includes certainly religion, Bible, scripture, which includes classical literature. Today it includes sociology, psychology. So all branches require interpretation, particularly law, legal issues. That was also another important aspect in the early development of hermeneutics as a branch of science. So law, legal aspect, because even today, nobody can interpret law as and when he or she likes. So that's another very important aspect of the development of hermeneutics. So we will see the key authors in the development of hermeneutics as a science, some of the important authors. And already yesterday I mentioned to you the author called Friedrich Schleiermacher, who is considered to be the father of modern hermeneutics. He is considered to be the father of modern hermeneutics. Why modern hermeneutics? Because hermeneutics is not a completely new thing. Hermeneutics was there. Interpretation is part and parcel of our life. And there were certain ideas, issues regarding hermeneutics earlier, but it was not a fully well-developed science. It was not a fully well-developed science, and therefore it becomes fully well-developed science in the modern times, particularly in the 18th century, with the arrival of Friedrich Schleiermacher, who is considered to be the father of modern hermeneutics. So he becomes a new impetus. He gives a new vision. He brings out new theories about hermeneutics. Now, Friedrich Schleiermacher was a Protestant theologian, a Protestant pastor, and a well-informed man, who also becomes later on a professor of theology at different universities. You can find out yourself some of the important, milestones of his life. It would be interesting. So he himself becomes a professor of University of Basel, where he becomes a professor of theology, professor of hermeneutics, in the sense that he introduces hermeneutics, and he was also a pastor. So he becomes a very popular figure in the school of hermeneutics. he becomes the starting point of the modern day hermeneutics developing as a science. And the generation that comes after him, people who come after him, either they agree with him, they disagree with him, or they go in line with his thought, or they go in a different direction. But they are all making a reference to Schleiermacher. So that's why this man is so important in this particular branch of learning. So they may not agree with him. Many may disagree with him. Later on, particularly Gadamer, one of the important figures in hermeneutics, may disagree with him on several points. But even disagreement shows that Schleiermacher was the one who started this new movement. That's why he's a very important figure in this particular enterprise called interpretation, theory of interpretation. Another, I would say, before I enter a little detail on Schleiermacher, another important aspect which we need to keep in mind, I had told you right at the beginning in few lines, maybe to remind you, and also, underline a little more that we have had the first part of our course as phenomenology, and the second part of our course is hermeneutics. So why are we linking the two? Why are we connecting phenomenology with hermeneutics? It is not we are doing it, because it has been done by already people who have done this. So phenomenology and hermeneutics are always linked together, and this was done very strongly by Heidegger, Martin Heidegger. That's why we have linked phenomenology with hermeneutics. Why? Because phenomenology, what is phenomenology? Phenomenology is the experience of the phenomena. It's an experience of the phenomena. We have seen that at length. So it is the study of phenomena. Study means it's not just an intellectual understanding. I have already told you several times, it is not an intellectual enterprise. Phenomenology is nothing but trying to reach the phenomena through my experience. So what is the phenomena in my experience? How do I experience the phenomena? Can I go directly to the phenomena? Can I directly experience the phenomena? Can I have a first-hand experience of the phenomena? So that was the objective of original phenomenology developed by Edmund Husserl. And Edmund Husserl said that we can all have an original experience of the phenomena. We can go directly to the phenomena, or using the expression of Husserl, we can reach the flesh and blood of the phenomena, or we can go back to the things of phenomena, or we can go back to the truth of the phenomena, provided we follow a method. That was the method suggested by Edmund Husserl, that if you follow this particular method, we are able to reach the phenomenon. And we know that his method was phenomenological method, wherein he asks us to use the method of reduction. That is the reduction of the subject, reduction of the object, variation, identity. So all those steps help us to go back to the things, or to go back to the reality, or to reach the phenomena, what he calls the essence of the phenomena. So we have a first-hand experience of the phenomena. That was the dream of Husserl. Now we know later on how Husserl was terribly criticized, because Husserl becomes ideology, an idealist. Husserl becomes a sort of an individual. He doesn't require anything else. We can reach the phenomena directly. This was thoroughly criticized, which we have seen. Now, it was when it comes to Martin Heidegger, he also agrees that yes, we have to reach the phenomena. And he has taken which phenomena? Which phenomena Heidegger took? Which phenomena did he take?
Being.
Yeah, he took the phenomena called the being. So he says that is the first and the most required phenomena is the being. We have to understand what being is. We have to enter into the being as such. So that was the enterprise of Martin Heidegger. And therefore he says, for Heidegger, when we reach the phenomena, whatever be the phenomena, we reach the phenomena by reaching the phenomena, or we are able to, experience the phenomena Experiencing phenomena itself is an interpreting the phenomena. So that's why very important. Note this point and don't forget this and try to understand. If you have not understood, kindly ask me first. If you don't understood, then we cannot proceed. So knowing the phenomena or experiencing the phenomena is already interpreting the phenomena. Let us take a simple example. I have in front of me this particular book. Now, when I experience what this object right in front of me, I may not call it a book, whatever. I know that this is an object. I know that this object has a shape. I know that this object has a color. I know that this object is hard. It's very hard. I know that this object occupies a space. What am I doing in all this? I am interpreting. I may not know that this is you follow me? The person who has never seen a book, he will not say it is a book. But even a person who has never seen a book, when he sees this object, what he can know about it? What does he say? Or how does he interpret it? What are the things I said just now? What will he say? What will he say? That this object has a color. Anything else?
Shape.
This object has a shape. Anything else? What?
Smell.
Okay, this object has a smell. Anything else?
Size.
What is that? Size. This
Size.
object has a size. You see, all this is an interpretation. So, experiencing the phenomena is already an interpretation of the phenomena. I try to understand what it is. Experiencing is already understanding. Understanding need not be, now I see an object which is, I have never seen an object. For example, somebody has never seen what a computer is. A man in the worst of villages may not know what a computer is at all. He may not able to tell you the instrument that is in front of me as a computer. But if I present him this object, he may not know what a computer, but at least he try to interpret it as I said now, he will touch it and it says it's very hard. He will touch it and say it has a surface. That much he is able to say. He will touch it and say it has a color. He will touch it and say it has a particular shape. Do you follow me? All of you, do you follow me?
Yes, Father.
Say either yes or no.
Yes, Father.
So you see, that much they are able to say. That means what is he doing? That experience that he has of the object, he is trying to interpret it. That's why, for Heidegger, phenomenology and hermeneutics go hand in hand. They are two sides of the same coin, which Husserl did not speak about. Husserl only spoke about the experience of the phenomena. Now, for Heidegger, experiencing the phenomena is already interpreting the phenomena. So I interpret. I don't know what exactly. I may not, but I am able to say something about this phenomenon. Whoever, I am able to say something about this phenomenon. This something may not be exact, but he is able to say something about the phenomenon. So that is nothing but an interpretation of the phenomenon. That's why Heidegger said that hermeneutics and phenomenology go hand in hand. That's why we have connected hermeneutics with phenomenology or phenomenology with hermeneutics. This is the phenomenological method. Am I making things very clear?
Yes, Father.
Father.
Anybody who has
Yes,
not
Father.
understood and anybody who has difficulty to understand, anybody who has any questions, because we have to clarify very clearly. We should be extremely clear. If you are not clear, then there is no point in proceeding. This is maybe a little in this one theoretical concept, but they are very important concepts. They are not just theory. If you understand, then we understand it's practical. Nothing we experience and whatever we experience, we interpret. Ultimately, it's our interpretation. Suppose I feel, I feel what is this one. Even I said experiencing a phenomenon need not be only external phenomena. Experiencing a phenomena is also internal phenomena. Like I experience isolation. I experience sorrow. So my experience of the sorrow. So what do? If I experience sorrow, then I interpret that sorrow in my own way, maybe through my face, through my words, or through my eyes, or through my gestures. I explain what sorrow means. Sorrow, I need not explain only through words. Words may be one of the ways to explain. I interpret my sorrow in different ways. The moment I look at somebody, I may say, "Oh, look, you look very sad today." The moment I look somebody's eyes, I say that, "Oh, you did not sleep or what?" The moment I look at somebody's the movements of the lips, I interpret the body movements. So whatever I experience, I normally interpret. I put it and I explain this way. So interpretation need not be done only through writing. Writing is one of the ways of interpreting. Speaking is one of the ways of interpreting. There are many other ways. Anybody has any questions? You're all there, no?
Yes, Father.
What about that Rakesh? I forgot his name. Is he there?
Yes, Father, I'm here.
You fellow, yesterday you disappeared, man, afterwards.
Yes, I was traveling, Father, so could not get the signal.
What traveling, man? Are you on a picnic?
No, Father.
Then what? You are the
Yesterday I
man who
traveled.
is enjoying the highest in life. Now stop traveling, please.
Yes.
Either you have a celebration, or you travel, or you, I don't know, go to your grandfather's house. Something you are doing. Who is this fellow? Pindo, are you there?
I'm there, Father.
Thank God. You see, Pindo is attending even from far. Rakesh, note the point.
Yes, Father.
Okay. So this is a little background to the subject. So we will come back to Friedrich Schleiermacher, father of modern hermeneutics. Now Friedrich Schleiermacher, in your notes I have given, but just to make it little more clear, little more clear what is written already in the notes. It may not be easy to understand. Friedrich Schleiermacher asked, basically, the fundamental question in understanding he asked was, what are the general principles which underlie all understanding? What are the general principles which underlie all understanding? In other words, what are the general principles to understand a thing? Or another question, what are the factors that ground all interpretation of language? So in the interpretation of language, what factors have to be taken into consideration? What are the factors that ground all interpretation of language? So in other words, there were many theories before, or many ideas regarding interpretation or hermeneutics before Schleiermacher. As I said, Schleiermacher is not the first man. Before that, there were people, including Aristotle, has spoken about hermeneutics even in his time. So, Schleiermacher, what does he do? He is trying to put all these theories, existing theories together. He's trying to put together all the existing theories and give a very systematic, approach to the subject called hermeneutics. That's why he's called as the father of modern hermeneutics. He's not called as the father of hermeneutics, but he's called as the father of modern hermeneutics. Don't forget that. Why modern? Because during this time, there were many theories, splintered theories, spread out here and there. But he was able to recuperate all of them, study all of them, and finally evolve a very systematic approach to the science called hermeneutics. Now, Friedrich Schleiermacher says understanding can be done at two levels. Note that, very important. Understanding can be done at two levels. One is the grammatical, another is psychological. So in your notes there on page 38, I don't know what may be the page number in yours, philosophical hermeneutics, that is the title. So
39.
in that notes, I have written grammatical and technical. So in brackets you write psychological. Where there is the word technical, you write the word psychological. So hermeneutics as an art should be done at two levels. One is grammatical, another is psychological, or brackets it could be technical. The first one, grammatical, is called objective understanding. And the second one, psychological, is called as subjective understanding or subjective interpretation. So in the grammatical interpretation, the grammatical level, two levels, he said, hermeneutics. At the grammatical level, it is objective, meaning to say that it concentrates itself on the language, the grammar, the words. So when you interpret a thing, you interpret a thing. For example, you are reading a book written by Aristotle. For example, you are reading a book and trying to understand the book written by Aristotle. So naturally, the grammatical part of it, or the grammatical level or objective level, is what sort of language it is written in Greek. So what is the Greek language? You must know something about Greek language. What is the structure of the Greek language? How is it written? What is the grammar of Greek language? What are the expressions in Greek language? So you must know something about it. Otherwise, you can't understand. You can't understand. So you want to know what exactly Aristotle wrote, you must have some background about the language, the grammatical structure, the construction of sentences, the expressions. Then, yes. So you see, that's why it is called objective level. It's called objective because you are not involved in it. You are just analyzing what exists, what is there. The language, the grammar, the structure, all that is existing there. All that is existing there. It is there. That is called the objective level. The second one is called the subjective level, or also called a psychological level. Subjective level or psychological level. It sees the act of understanding. It sees the act of understanding as a fact in the thinking of the speaker. It's there in the notes. The second is subjective. Since it sees the act of understanding as a fact in the thinking of the speaker. As a fact in the thinking of the speaker. So here, the emphasis is on the one who has written. The first part was emphasis was on the way he has written. The way he has written. The second is emphasis is on the one who has written. who was this author? For example, in our example, who is this fellow called Aristotle? Who is this fellow? What is his background? What is his background? What are the ways what are the political, social, cultural, psychological structures he had? When you write somebody, we are writing from a particular perspective. So we are somebody is not writing from a no man's land. Somebody is not writing from a no man's land. He or she is writing from a particular context. He belongs to a particular religion, for example. He adheres himself to a particular political ideology. He is in a particular cultural context. He belongs to a particular community, for example. Particular community he belongs to. He has a particular psychological structure. If the same thing is written by somebody else, it may not be the same. It may be different. So, what was the intention of the author? What was the intention of the author? So, he calls it as the divinatory method. Second part is called as divinatory method. Divinatory method. Divinatory. Divinatory. I have given a footnote there. I have given a footnote. Divinatory means what? Divinatory means I am trying to understand what the author is saying. I am trying to guess what the author is saying. This is what I understand by what the author says. Now, my guesswork may be sometimes correct, sometimes need not be correct. It's a little risky affair. And my understanding may not be full. It may be only partial. So when I interpret, for example, Aristotle, and I say that that does not mean that I have completely understood Aristotle. Nobody can understand. Suppose my friend here, Glanson, is reading Aristotle tomorrow. He may say that I am reading Aristotle and I have discovered many other things, or I have understood in a different way. Or my friend Gleason is interpreting Aristotle. He may say that, I have read Aristotle and my understanding of Aristotle is slightly different. That's why, you see, that's why we can have varieties of interpretations. Varieties of interpretations are possible. So, you see, I guess this must be what Aristotle said. Gleason also says that, no, I feel that he says this. Kevin says, no, that's another way of it. Or all of us may agree also. Certain points all of us may agree. So that is why it is called divinatory methods. So there are two methods, the comparative method and the divinatory method. Comparative method to the first part. So I compare. So this second part or second way of understanding. Now, second way of understanding is very important according to first way also is important, but second way, the psychological, subjective level also is very important. We may get cut at any time, we'll come back. We come back. So, the second part, the psychological dimension in the interpretation for Schleiermacher is very important. So Schleiermacher says the ultimate goal of all understanding, is trying to understand the author better than the author himself. Hello? मॉर्निंग हां हांव आतां म्हाका 2 मिनटांनी फोन करता 5 मिनटांनी हांव एक क्लास येता काल येते of all hermeneutics according to